Anime Vanguards is on its last chance. No matter how much you personally enjoy the game, no matter how much time and money you spent, this is the reality. Now, I'm not saying the game is cooked or anything crazy like that, but what I am saying is that if things don't change soon, then it will most definitely hurt for the game. This isn't completely out of nowhere, and I'm not saying this because I hate the game either. The reason I'm saying that Anime Vanguards is on its last chance is because of the return of a certain game that I'm sure everyone watching is already familiar with. It needs no introduction. My Glorious King Anime Adventures is coming back sometime this month. Probably. If I had to assume, I'd say it'd be the day that it originally got taken off the platform. But what does this have to do with Anime Vanguards? Well, a lot actually. As the return of Anime Adventures comes closer, the time for improvement within Vanguards becomes less and less. Although Adventures never really reached the peaks that Vanguard saw, people hold it in much higher regard, by far. I mean, there are people who haven't even played the game who glaze it like there's no tomorrow. Anime Vanguards, on the other hand, while it has seen a ton of popularity near its release with a peak of around 300,000 players, it's recently become a lot worse within the minds of its player base. Vanguards now holds a player count of around 25k usually, 30k on a good day, which is still good, don't get me wrong, but compared to its release, it's a lot less. I mean, it's to be expected because the game had crazy hype before, but whatever. The player base of Vanguards has gotten extremely tired of the game, especially after update 1.75, which had the entire community in an uproar. Despite how well the developers view the update or how much they think it's misunderstood, the fact that the majority of the community hated it is irrefutable. Now, I was actually going to make this video before the Dandanon update, which I think was received with mixed feelings from the community, but I was essentially going to say the same thing back then that I am going to say now. The main issue is Anime Vanguards is on a timer, and this timer is counting down to the day Anime Adventures drops. For anime TDs, that day is doomsday, and Vanguards might be shot in the head as well if their community doesn't view them better by then. And it's nowhere near an easy task. Have you ever seen general chat after an update? It's not a battle, this is war. Now personally, I find the new update just fine. It does what it's supposed to do as a quarter update. The problem with a quarter update though, is that it's a quarter update. No matter what, it was bound to make people upset. We already had half updates which people made fun of, so just looking at the 0.75 being announced, I already knew that the war the developers were going to have to fight in their Discord was going to be bloody. Now I can understand why the devs would do it though. A lot of the community gets upset when they don't have stuff to play, and since the Dandana update came out a couple weeks ago, they wanted to deliver something fresh to their player base. The issue with that though is that there's a huge disconnect between the players and the developers. If you remember a video I made a while ago, closer to the release of the game, you might recall me making a point about communication and how important it is. Back then, a lot of people told me I was over-exaggerating, but clearly now, this issue is much more apparent, and it's a big reason I was seeing a lot of people complain. The Vanguards community doesn't understand why a 0.75 update was needed because they've never gotten a reason from the developers. It's harder for the developers to discern what's actually wrong with the update because 99% of their DMs, suggestions, and pings are from little Timmy who just hopped on the hate train. It's all cycling into a massive orb of hate really. Like nothing good has come from the situation, except for the interview that Perry had with one of the developers. By the way, y'all should watch that if you haven't. Shout out to Perry, that's my brother. But with all that said, where does that leave us? What has to happen for Anime Vanguards to succeed before Anime Adventures comes back? Well, there's three options I could think of. First off, the entire community would have to collectively agree to stop harassing the developers so that they can focus on the update. Okay, so that's not gonna work. Then we have number two. The developers begin communicating with their community more often and everyone is 100% supportive and understanding. Yo, who wrote these, bro? From the beginning, we're only left with one option, and that's option 3, the delivery of Update 2. Update 2 has to make miracles happen. As unfortunate as it is, actions speak much louder than words, which is clear to see. The devs have gotten a little more transparent with what's going on by using the update logs more, but it's seen little effect. And Perry's video, even though it was posted in sub announcements, has only gotten around 30k views. It's done good as a YouTube standard, but for reaching the community standard, it's not quite there. Update 2 needs to capture people's attentions enough for them to literally have their opinions converted. Paisive might have to walk on water. Clay can't say this. They will truly have to pull out all the stops for Update 2. So that leaves us with our very last question. Is it possible? And my answer? Of course. As much as the odds seem to be stacked against them, I genuinely have faith that they could somehow pull it off. Maybe not to the level of people completely preferring them over anime adventures, but definitely not counting them out. And I promise you this is not glaze. I just think that from what they've shown so far, it's definitely a possibility. Although I will glaze for rerolls. Please, please, I need to reroll so bad. I have no monarchs, I'm basically poor. Update 1 was amazing, and if you're going to try and disagree with me, then I wish you a speedy recovery, because you must be sick in the head. Great units, new map with a special interaction and new game mode. They had that shit in the bag, let's be honest. They were coding like their rent was due. So if they can do that, I think it's definitely reasonable that they'll be able to deliver on Update 2. Sadly, it's too late for some people. They'd rather play absolutely nothing than play more Vanguards, but that doesn't mean there's no one left. They still have a sizable player base, and if they can prove their worth to them, then I think they'll be just fine. Or they sell their game like Anime Realms did and follow the great suggestions that their community has to offer.
Alright, what updates do you want to see for the game?
I think we should get a JoJo update because JoJo never gets any justice in any tower defense. And we should also give all the female characters like jiggle physics. So like every time they attack, it like moves with them. You know what I mean?
That's all I have to say for now, team. Thanks so much for listening though. Also, if you want to give me money, you can become a member. That'd be pretty cool too, I think. The perks are pretty radical. I'm playing though, that's not required. You can always watch my stuff for free. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later.